All right. In five, four, three, two, one. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Junior Golf Podcast. I'm your host, Ro Thompson. And as always, we got some special guests on the broadcast tonight. It's going to be incredible. This is probably going to be the best episode we've ever had. We've got junior dads from across the country that's going to save you time. We're going to try to save you money, and we're going to try to really show you how to take your junior golfer to the next level. Okay. So, um, the first guest I want to introduce you to is a longtime friend of mine here in South Carolina. It's none other than Dave Tabor. What's going on, Dave?
Hey, Ro, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. My next guest, you all, is from Houston, Texas. He's the father of a collegiate golfer. She's one of the top collegiate golfers in the state. I mean, in the U.S. And that's none other than Maurice Jackson. What's going on, Mo?
Hey, what's up, bro? How we doing?
Man, I can't call it, man. I can't call it.
Hey, appreciate the
Then,
invite, brother.
oh man, thanks for being on, bro. We're gonna help some people tonight. And
Yes,
then we
sir.
have Marvin Hall, um, formerly lived in Boca Raton, Florida. Now he lives in Dallas, Texas. Let's get him to join the episode as well. What's going on, Marv?
Hey guys, pleasure, Ro. Thanks for all you do for junior golf, man. We really appreciate you. Keep up the good work.
Hey man, thanks for being on. He's the junior dad of two collegiate golfers at Lehigh and Dartmouth. So thank you for being on, Marv. Then we have Mark McKinney from the upstate of South Carolina, junior dad, well, collegiate dad now. His son went to Presbyterian College, and he's the author of a golf book called The Drive Home. Thanks, Mark, for being on tonight. How you doing?
I'm good. Appreciate you having me, and thanks to Karen for letting you do this thing tonight. So,
I know, right? No. And then we have Gus Vital from the upstate of Pennsylvania, where it always snows. He has two sons at Temple University. What's going on, Gus?
What's going on? Like I say, thanks for everything you do, man. Thanks for the invitation.
Hey, man, thank y'all for being on, man. I wouldn't have it any other way. Man, we got a lot to cover in a short period of time. And I just can't wait to hear the response from everyone that gets a chance to listen and dive in. And, I'm sure we're going to have some people that hit the chat button and, they may have a question or two as we're going through the broadcast tonight, but we'll try to make sure we answer everybody. But I wanted to pull some junior golf dads from across the country to kind of let everybody know what they're up against, what they need to look out for, the tournaments that they need to look at, the equipment they need to look at. And I think one of the things that we talked about starting off with tonight was just, maybe, coaches and, just, when I get ready to go on this junior golf journey, I got to look at the coaches that, you know, that we're putting our kids in front of, because, we can't put the kids just with anybody. I think, when you're putting the kids with, coaches, the coaches need to have a certain track record. So I got Gus, Mo. We're going to talk about just putting the coaching together. And so, Mo, I'll kick it off to you, man, and just, give us your take on, the type of coaches and the teams and everything you want to put together as you embark upon this junior golf journey.
Hey, appreciate it, Ro. Good question. Hey, when it comes to coaching, you want to make sure that your junior golfer is aligned with the coach. It may take you a couple coaches to find out what that mix is. I mean, there are certain coaches who are good technically, but not be able to be a good fit. So you kind of find out the best fit for your junior golfer. And don't be afraid to try different coaches just to make sure that they match up. There are some coaches who are very technical, and if your student golfer, your junior golfer is not real technical, then it won't mesh out. Then there are some coaches who will just tell you everything is good and everything is okay, but they're not able to get your junior golfer. If you're trying to get to the next level, they might not be able to get your junior golfer to the next level. So you got to do your homework. There are a lot of junior golf coaches out there. There's a lot of different parents out there. Just do your due diligence and do your homework and trying to find the best fit for your junior golfer. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure that the money you're investing in your golfer is paying an ROI. You just don't want somebody to go there and they're just beating balls and beating balls and beating balls and then never getting better. So you just got to do your homework.
That's right.
Totally
That's
agree.
right. Good take on that, Maurice. Good take on that. And
Mhm.
David, give us your feedback on, picking the right coaches for your junior.
Yeah, I agree with everything Maurice said. The only thing I'll add is, a couple things we learned along the way with coaches are, especially when your kid is going through growth spurts and changes in, strength and all that, sometimes the coaching is not even needed at that point. It's okay to take breaks
Mhm.
because when their bodies are growing and strengths are changing, they have to figure some things out before they can get too technical. So, there's nothing wrong with taking a 6-month hiatus from a coach and going back to them. You don't have to see a coach every week, every, other week. They can give you stuff to work on and you can work on it, with the family. It's okay to see a coach quarterly. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with taking breaks from coaching too. It's not going to set your child back, particularly if they're going through, like I said, growth spurts or changes in strength, because it's very hard to work on technical things when they don't know, how far they are from the ball because it changed 3 inches from last month.
Good, good. Marvin, what's your take on coaching, man?
Yeah, I think everyone has made some great valid points. Mo really touched on, a lot of good stuff. Make sure that the coaches align with your vision. If your vision is to play high school golf, if your vision is to play collegiate golf, if your ticket is try to have your child play on Sundays, you just set the expectation with the coach of where you want the child, your junior golfer to go. We went through our share of coaches before we chose to write college golf. Some coaches are more technical than other coaches. Some coaches video a lot of the technology, so we're able to capture that and go back and look at that during the week. Some coaches use, I forget the apps out there, but there's a couple of good apps out there that they record the lesson, and I may not even go to a lesson, but they send me the lesson. So we're able to pick and choose, whether it's distance from the ball, whether it's setup, where are we missing that week? So you want that coach in the parent, whether it's mom or dad, to be able to go back and look and have something to evaluate. And like I think Dave said, it's okay to take a break from a coach. So we've had a coach, we've moved from a coach, and then we end up going back to a coach. So, don't be shy, or, even don't burn bridges with coaches. Coaches will, they kind of get obsessive with the kid. They think that kid belongs to them.
Yeah.
We've had some great coaches, and my kid just didn't score better. You're with the guy for 9-10 months or lady, and you love everything about the coach, but the scoring just didn't reflect the money, the investment that you're spending in the time that you're spending. So make good notes, be critical, and just like, whether you're investing in this or crypto, you got to make sure the investment pays off at the end.
That's right. That's right.
That end if that end is your college, then you want to just make sure everyone's aligned.
That's right. That's
Sorry
right.
to be so long.
No, that's okay. Mark, Gus, you want to
Yeah,
jump in there?
I think couple quick things. Number one is the relationship has to work with the coach. It doesn't matter if it's Butch Harmon, if it's David Ledbetter, if the relationship between your son or daughter does not work with the coach, doesn't matter how great the coach is, it's not going to work because he or she is not going to listen to the coach. So that relationship, they have to get along. That's critical to me because if not, you're going to waste your money, right? And the other thing I think I may have heard that I want to add to is that the I've seen my over the years I've seen probably 19 different coaches with my kids. The reason for it because I want to find a lot of things within golf is about self-discovery. I want to be able to go to these coaches. Eventually, I find something that works for my son. So therefore, we can learn it and be able to try to implement as much as we can. You may not find all the things you're looking for in one coach. You may have to go multiple coaches, right? Some coaches are really good in the full swing, some good in short game, some good in putting. So not one coach is good at everything. So you might have to go to a lot of different coaches to get a little piece here, a little piece there, to put together a puzzle for you and your child.
That's awesome. Yeah. Mark, anything you want to cover on that?
Yeah, I'll throw in. I'd say find somebody who wants to fire themselves, and what I mean by that is my son Ben, the coach he ended up with, eventually after we did some breaking up and sort of reconnecting, that sort of thing. He said specifically, he's like, my goal is to teach you such that you don't need me. Meaning that when he got into a tournament, so in the beginning you all do it like we text the coach, oh my God, he's hitting it left, and you text the coach, oh my God, he's hitting it right. Like, what do I do?
Right.
But the coach we ended up with was very adamant that like, look, like, hey man, if you're going to own this thing, like you got to fix it. Like you got to be able to fix it. Then you don't. So I say that to say, he wanted to fire him. Even Dave, when we said, hey, we need a lesson next week, he's like, no, you don't. Go fix it. So I think that's important. And that was a real eye opener to us. I think honesty is a big thing. Marvin, I think you spoke to it about the different levels. I think there's some parents certainly that I want my kid to go play college, whatever. And not every kid's going to go play college golf. It's a hard game. Yep. But I think some coaches will continue to feed into that. Like, hey, I think you can make it. So find somebody that's honest and be like, hey, we talked earlier, like maybe baseball's the thing, or maybe football's the thing. The other I'd say is find somebody who's really embraces the on course playing lessons, because you can easily go TrackMan, you can bang balls. We've done all that. You sit and you look at the launch angle and spin rate and stuff, but none of that matters, right, until you get on the course. So we were really blessed with coaches that would say, hey, let's go play 9, let's go play 3, and they could watch and see, because the thing that matters is when they get in that situation, they're under a tree, they're next to a fence, they've hit 3 balls out of bounds. What happens then? So that's, to me, that's more, the technical stuff. I think we started out in the beginning and we drilled it and drilled it and drilled it and drilled it and drilled it, trying to get in perfect position. And you get on a course and life happens, right? Mike Tyson said what he said. As soon as you get punched, right, everything's good until you get punched in the face. And
that's right.
Everybody plays golf gets punched in the face.
Yeah.
Hey,
Everybody. That's it.
Bro, I just want to throw in there because I think this is a differentiator. If the coach will show up and watch your kid play at a tournament, that's a keeper without having to drag them there. I'm serious. That to me shows that the coach wants to see your child succeed versus, just taking you to the bay or to the putting green or whatever. If they're going to show up and watch your child at a real tournament, that's the differentiator to me.
Hey, that's a good one, Dave. And, just to piggyback on what everybody said, one of the things that I did early on with John, like when he was about 12 or 13, I came up with this great idea to put a team together. And so his team consisted of his swing coach, his mental performance coach, putting coach. I think, Gus, you alluded to having different coaches for different things. And, a lot of people thought I was crazy. A lot of people said, well, yeah, he don't need all those coaches. He just needs to dig it out of the dirt. Well, everybody that I talk to, if my game plan is to have, my son to try to make it to the PGA Tour, from what I heard, they all have teams. So they have a mental performance coach, they have a swing coach, they have a putting coach. I think some of them even have a chipping coach. And so if we're going to set our children up to succeed, we need to look at putting a team together that can do the necessary things that needs to be done, whether it's fitness coach, whether it's nutritionist, making sure that they eat the right stuff. And we just can't, I had a great junior dad tell me, if you're going to do this, you need to be all in, because you can't shortcut this junior golf journey. Okay. Anybody want to add to what I just said?
No, well, the only thing, the only thing I'll add there, so it's putting a team together costs a lot of money, but not everything has to cost money, right?
That's true.
There's a lot of people out there that will be, if your kids is a talented, a lot of people out there will be willing to help your kid, right? Because I mean, we have sports psychology, we have people helping us out. They'll be, if they see your kid talented, they'll be willing to help your kid. But go find that help. If it's out there, use it.
There's a lot of free resources too, especially on the mental side. Books are cheap. A lot cheaper. Coaches, have them read books, podcasts like yours, Ro. There's a lot of free resources on the mental side that I don't think enough juniors take advantage of. So it doesn't have to cost money. I totally agree.
Ro, one thing I'd add to that real quickly and briefly is so I think so parents that are listening to this, they're like, am I really going to take this journey? I think one of the things prior to sort of saying swing coach, mental coach, putting coach, blah, 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 whatever, is to make sure that your whys are aligned, WHY are aligned. Tammy Matheny, who is a confidence coach, talks about this because, if you take a look at what Ryan Daly and crew have done with Operation 36, they say like, hey, kind of where, as a golfer, the junior golfer, where are you on this spectrum? Do you want to be just like a social golfer? And some do. Do you want to be a competitive golfer? Do you want to be a collegiate golfer? Like, where do you want to go with it? Because one of the things I learned as a dad is like, if those whys are misaligned, what happens is then let's say that John, let's say he doesn't want to, be super uber competitive, just picking on you. Then what happens is Rose investing, like he's buying and doing, investing all this money. And John is saying, hey, I want to be a social golfer. Like you guys have all seen that. You've seen the hammer athlete that's walking down the fairway that could shoot 68 with his eyes closed. But they've told me like, I'd rather be anywhere but here. I'd love to be fishing, but my dad wants me to be a golfer. So I would say to the parents that are listening, before you kind of get to that, we're going to go and hire all these people. Like really have that discussion. Like, where are you on that spectrum? Are you a social golfer? Most of the people listening to this will be in that competitive state, but kind of make sure that, we're throwing.
Correct.
That's right. That's right. All right. Good deal, y'all. So we covered coaches. Now let's dive into this practice thing. Practice can, be a little testy. So I've got Dave, Mark, and Marvin. I want y'all to dive in on this practice routine thing, okay? Whoever wants to go first.
I mean, the only thing I'll say about practice is I think they need to get on the course as much as possible. I think banging balls at the range for 6 hours a day is pretty much useless. I think as much as they can get on the course. And the other thing is it's cheaper to get on the course now than it is to bang balls because of all the you can sign up for the Youth on Course courses.
Yeah, that's correct.
A bucket of balls is $15, but for $5 they can go walk 9 with their buddy or with their friends. And then along that practice route, align their competitiveness. Make sure they're playing with the right people. I think they're going to play to the level that they're around a lot of times. So I think, if they're going to go out with friends, which is fine to play social golf, but a certain amount of time they have to be with kids that want to play competitive golf at the next level. Because it does, they play better when they're around that type of competition, and they practice better when they're around that type of practice competition, right? So we've seen it with our boy. So I think those two things I'd just throw out there.
Good deal. All right, Mark.
Yeah, so to piggyback on that, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly, Dave, with the not banging balls. It's I think play-in is the best thing. You'll read different metrics about, you know, the splits like 70-30, you know, short game to long game kind of thing. I think, you know, we migrated more towards that. You'll see the kids really, they love to go and hit a, you know, they love to hit driver. They love to, you know, I want to go hit 30, 40 drivers or whatever kind of thing. But where where you're making your money at is certainly short game. So I'd say I'm not that guy. I'm not the expert. I'm not Mark Brody at all. But I'd say like it's you know, try to go 70-30 on, you know, short game putting, because that's, you know, if you can, you're always going to get in trouble, right? That's what we tell our kids. You're always going to get in trouble. If you can get up and down from 100 yards, then you'll be all right. Relative to practice, I kind of go back to the more of the philosophical stuff is they got to want it. And I've had several coaches, several people, like it can't be Dave saying, hey, we got to go to the golf course now. You got to go practice. It can't be a push. I think it's got to be a pull whereby they say, hey, I want to go practice. And you can start seeing that at you know, at certainly early ages and stuff. But I think, you know, they gotta want to go, and they gotta want to go and do. But to that end, though, I've seen kids do it. I think we did it as a family from time to time. It's just over practice, particularly when Ben got into college. You know, he felt like more was better, right? He felt like if I went and hit more was better all the time. And I think sometimes, definitely these kids that, you know, they've been playing. These guys have been playing since they're 6 or 7 years old, kind of thing. And I think sometimes that break is good. Like, hey, you know, go do something else, go play basketball or whatever. But just don't oversaturate, and don't attack. You know, I think kids feel like there's so much attached to that scorecard, that 18 boxes they fill out, that they feel like I got to go do it. I got, you know, 4 hours is better than 3, type of thing. So I think it's just it's finding that balance. But I agree, Dave, wholeheartedly with play-in teaches them more than anything. And then, you know, kind of, you know, Drew, I know you're a big analytical guy. You're a big data guy. So you know, we got it at our fingertips with apps, and you can do all kind of stuff. So I'd say pay attention to the data too, and have those. That's great. That's a great opportunity to have a conversation with your players. Like, hey, here's the data that we collected, and you know, it starts to show patterns and stuff like that. So I know that's all over the map, but yeah, that's what I'm here for, to be all over the map.
That's good. All right, Marv, want to weigh in on practice?
Yeah, it was those are some great comments, guys. I think for us, we're originally from Baltimore. We've moved all over the place, but when the girls 6th and 8th grade, we moved to Boca Raton, and for practice we chose a school where they didn't have to be to school until 11 o'clock. And it was a sports school, really. It was more catered towards tennis. The Chris Everett Tennis Academy, which is Boca Prep. So they were venturing out into other sports. So the girls didn't have to be at school until, like I said, 11 o'clock. So from like 7:30 to 9:30, 7:30 to 10, 8 to 10, they go practice, be to school at 11. So they just had their core classes. The problem was the school sucked.
It's on the school.
So we did that for a year. I was like, you know, this golf thing is not guaranteed, man. We got to get to a real school.
Yeah.
So we still kept the junior golf academy going in the afternoon after school, which turned out just to be a lot better for my sanity as well as the girls' sanity. So for us, we did an academy after school until they could get old enough to have their own formula down. The neat thing about where we played at in South Florida, it was quite a bit of junior golfers on the course at all times. So we were blessed because it was $150 a year many balls as you want.
Mm.
You could go out for free after 4 o'clock. And because the starters knew all the kids there, they just kind of work them in throughout the day. So really, it was God sent for this place. The academy wasn't a cheap place, but we only did that. We did the academy, I think, for 2 years, and then we still chose that coach as their swing coach for the most part. But they went off. We kind of did our own thing once we knew what we were doing. No, I'm heavy into sports. I'm not a good golfer, so I can kind of like they kind of like train the trainer, if you will.
Mhm.
And you know, I will say the girls practice hard, man. I mean,
They got it in.
yeah, we practice every day. I mean,
Good.
I mean, their whole life has been golf, homework, repeat. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
they've got 2 great schools that they attend.
Yes.
Hope and Alana both go to extremely great schools. I think, Ro, as you said, Alana is at Lehigh University studying engineering.
Yeah.
And Hope is at Dartmouth
Mhm.
studying engineering. So for us, the ROI, the amount of money we put in, it's already paid off.
Right.
But it's not easy, and they have to. I heard one of the guys say that it's a push, not a pull.
Mhm.
You know, but some days it does feel like, hey, what time we going to golf?
Mhm.
You know, because they're human and they get tired.
Yep.
And
Right.
that's why they have parents. But they also tell me
Right.
this is what they want to do.
Right.
All their friends are golfers. They still, they're still in the same chat with their high school golfers 3 years later, right?
Mhm.
Hey, what'd you do today? How'd you shoot? Who'd you guys play? So, they've literally built their life around this sport. I don't know what's next, but we're completely happy. But
That's good.
practices, it's part of the ritual in the Hall household.
That's right. That's right. Important. Practice is the thing that's going to help them get better. Anything else on the practice line, guys, before we get to equipment?
The only thing I would add there, Ro, is that, I think when it comes to practice, I think a couple people may have said it. It's quality over quantity, right? It's practice with a purpose. It's not just sit there hitting balls after balls. You go to your own routine, you hit balls. So there's a lot. It's more of a practice with a purpose, more of a quality versus quantity. The other thing I think someone mentioned it. Nothing beats being on the golf course in the spring and summer. That's what we do on the golf course. Play 36 hole versus in at the range, you play 36 hole or more, right? So the more you're at the golf course, the more you're gonna learn different situation and learn from different lie and go everything you might encounter. So be on the golf course, we'll take care of it.
That's it. That's it. All right, guys. So listen, we want to dive into the equipment thing just a little bit, and we got Maurice, Gus, and Mark. You're going to talk about equipment a little bit. So Maurice, give us your take, bro, on making sure your kids have the right equipment in that junior golf space.
Good question, Ro. Just a full disclosure. I mean, for junior golf, there's different levels of junior golf. So the parents got to be able to understand that. And golf is an investment, especially what we talked about in our household. So I can't look at golf as an investment and then she goes out and shoots an 88 or 89 and I'm on her about, hey, why'd you do this and why'd you like that? It's just like investing in the stock market. You put the money away, but you're not checking every day to see, hey, what did I make money today? Did I make money? I didn't make money today. Over the course of time, it's all going to pay off. But you can't hound your golfer about what did you do today? Why did you shoot this and all of that? But getting back to equipment, first of all, golf is an investment. So you have to take the time to invest in the proper equipment. So there's different levels to that. If you're a junior golfer growing up or a beginning golfer, there are different programs that you can start with and be able to get free equipment. I mean, that's a good thing with the First Tee. You can get them involved in there. If there's a First Tee chapter in your area, you might be able to get some equipment from there. As you matriculate up through junior golf, if your junior golfer tends to be great or is one of the on the high end, there are some programs that help subsidize some equipment. There's some AJGAs or there's some other national programs to where they have a tie-in with a certain equipment manufacturer, so you're able to reap the benefits of a reward or something like that. But just the main thing when it all boils down to equipment is just making sure that your junior golfer has the proper equipment to succeed, and just know that they're going to grow. So the wedges that you bought this year, you might be replacing them next year, or
Right.
if they're the 7th, 8th grade and they have a growth spurt, you can't be playing with equipment that's 4, 5, 6, 7 years old and not understanding that, hey, technology happens over the course of time. So you've got to grow. You have to grow when they grow.
That's right. Good point. All right. Gus, give us your take on equipment.
For me, it's I think the partnership that you develop with your coach should help when it comes to equipment. If you are paying someone else to take a lesson, and that person, that majority of the time, they're very well versed in equipment. So you should probably consult that person in terms of, okay, is this the right equipment for me? Because I know we went through that. Whereas one of my sons, for all of a sudden he normally hits a fade. The ball started going everywhere. And I was going to different coaches trying to understand why. Luckily, I found one coach who really understand equipment very well. Whereas he was trying different shaft, different club head. And eventually we figured out it wasn't the swing. It was actually the equipment that was causing that, right? So if you can find that coach that knows about equipment, it's a plus. And not every parent, I'm not, I mean, I'm not an expert in equipment in terms of like what the shaft, what's the weight. You're going to find plenty of people that are expert at that. So I count on those folks a lot of time when it comes to equipment for my kids.
Good. Mark?
Yeah, so I think Dave made a good point super early on about the fact that kids grow, and I think you go in thinking like you invest all this money in golf clubs, and then magically that's going to carry them from the time they're 12 to the time they get to be 18, and it don't work like that. But I would say that kind of in the beginning, just as they're learning the swing and stuff, you can, sort of anything works, right? Just to sort of get out there and start banging balls, but and playing. But as soon as you start to recognize that they do have that slant towards, they want to be competitive golfers, and everybody knows it, right? You can hear it, you can see it when that swing starts happening. One of the greatest epiphanies we ever had was is the first time we ever went and hopped on TrackMan for a club fitting, and we were doing the same thing, Gus. Like we had a swing looked great, like we videoed swing, the positions were all good, and it was going left, going right, going left, going right, and couldn't figure it out. And we went to, so anybody in the upstate of South Carolina, bypass golf is you think it's a hole in the wall, but it's one of the best places you can go in the country to be club fit. And so we went and we got on TrackMan and we did a club fitting, and within probably 90 seconds, the Wes, who works with the LPGA Tour now, he's like, hey, he said these shafts are way too weak for him. So we looked at swing speed and stuff. And Gus, to your point, we knew just right then, like, hey, it wasn't swing, it was equipment. So I say all that to say, take advantage of it's go spend $100 or whatever it is to get that fitting, because you're going to find out what shaft flex matters, swing weight matters, and you can line up all the different manufacturers. You can go get fit with 4 different manufacturers of heads on the driver. And you'll see them, the data will tell you, each of them operate a little different. So, and then to the point about the coach, in lockstep with them, like, have a goal, of what they're trying to accomplish with the equipment. And we made this mistake. So this is, fair warning, is, one of the times we were going to get new clubs. We went and we were swinging something. I can't remember what it was, TaylorMades or something. And
Mhm.
even the guy in the store, he's like, these things are hot, right? And we're doing like in just a big box store. So on TrackMan, we're hitting an 8-iron, 175 yards, and he was, 14 years old or something, and he was like,
Smoking it.
that's awesome. And then we go and start playing with those, and we found out the consistency of those clubs. Like one time on the course, it would go 170 yards. Another time, it would go 160 yards, and we called his coach, who we didn't consult in the beginning. He's like, if you had just asked me, he said, his talent level is to the fact that you need to find something that's more, more of sort of a scoring, scoring irons and that sort of thing. And,
Yeah.
and that cost us, money, but it also cost us, 6 or 7 months of just like, flying greens into water hazards. Cause everybody on this call knows what it looks like when you got 130 into a green, you hit it 145 into
150,
the mud. So yeah. So if you distill all that down, I would say don't hesitate, even to the point of, I would urge you to go do it. Go get club fit, and you're going to do it. You may do it, 6 or 8 times, whatever, but go do it, because the data, the technology is amazing. It's going to tell you what you need. It takes all the guesswork out of it.
That's the key. And I think we all know what kind of clubs those are, Mark, that kind of hot.
Hopefully they
That's the P790.
P790s, yeah.
We all went through it.
We all know those clubs. All right, guys, man, we're having a great roundtable discussion. Got some people listening in, and I think the next topic, y'all, we should hit is probably the tournament schedule. When we think about tournament schedule, we're gonna have Gus, myself, and Dave weigh in on the tournament schedule. And so, Gus, I'm gonna go, and then Gus, you can go, and then Dave,
All right,
you can
no
go.
problem.
When you think about the tournament schedule, y'all, one of the things that Gus taught me early on is, and we're talking about kids that are in that 12, 13 range that's getting ready to make that jump to 2 days. And I think the main thing that we got to understand is we got to understand, strength of schedule. We got to understand performance-based entries. We got to understand, playing at a course that they're familiar with. And I think we don't have to, as junior parents, we don't have to go all across the country to play in top quality tournaments. So if we kind of go by the AJGA PBE schedule, if our kids can't get into some of those, I think every state, for the most part, has 2 days that they can play in and get in, just based on when they register. Now, one thing I can tell you, and then I'll turn it over to Gus and Dave, junior golf is psychotic. You have to register when the registration opens. Okay. That's the one tip I'll give you. So when that registration says 9 o'clock, I know in South Carolina, when the registration opens up at 5 o'clock, it is full at 5:05 with 80 to 100 players. So you have to register as soon as possible. So Gus, let me kick it over to you and talk about that tournament schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're spot on, Royce, that it's a process, right?
Right.
When the kids are young, they have to learn how to play one day.
Yes.
Hey, just trying to get some good score one day. Eventually transition to 2-day tournament to say, can I get, to a point where I can say, if my average costs 70, can I shoot 70 in day 1, 70 day 2? Because what you see, a lot of kids, what they're learning, they have 70 day 1 and 80 day 2, right?
Yes.
So it takes a while to understand that. So it's a whole learning process that I got to go into 1 day to 2 day to eventually 54 holes, which is 3 days, which is when you go to college, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of 54-hole tournament, right? So it's all part of the learning process you have to learn. And one of the things I remember Ro years ago had a tournament, and I said to Ro, so did you schedule practice round? He said, no, we're just gonna play the tournament. I said, no, Ro, you can't do that. That's unfair to the kid to have him play a golf course they never seen before, right? So you have to factor in that day or 2 days sometimes that you are going to practice that golf course. Me and a few friends of mine, like Ro knows them, when we used to go to US Kids World, we'll go a day before to practice. What we realized is that there were kids that were there a week or 2 weeks in advance to practice and learn the course before the tournament. So you have to factor those things in when you look at your schedule. The way I look at it is that from a schedule standpoint, the more you can play competitive golf early on, the better. So I'm not going to tell you if your money can afford you to play as many tournament, go ahead and do it because that's how you learn to play the game. That's the way I think about it.
All right, Dave.
Yeah, this is probably the area we've made the most mistakes as a and the area I've learned the most. And so I do have some bits of advice, take them or leave. The first thing I'll say is it's the most expensive and time intense part of junior golf is the
Mhm.
particularly when you do 2 days and you start traveling. That's where 80% of your money is going to be spent. It's not on equipment and coaching. As an example, a driver's $300, $400 now, although $500 now. That's maybe half a tournament if you travel. You're talking about food, travel, hotel, registration is over 1,000. So your money's going to be spent in tournaments. So you should put in the time and effort on the tournament side. The mistakes we made, the first mistake we made, and this is when your kid, I'm not talking about 13, 14. I'm talking when they're 15, 16, 17, and coaches start paying attention to them. Couple of mistakes we made. The first is we were chasing state rankings at the detriment of national rankings. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of 1 day or even 2 day state or local tournaments that simply don't have the level of caliber or ranking that some of the more regional tournaments do. So you don't play every tournament when you get to that age. I agree with Gus when you're younger and it doesn't, and they're local and they're 1 days and you play as many as you can. Once they get at a high enough competitive level, you have to be strategic with the tournaments you play.
Correct.
College college coaches don't look at local rankings, don't look at state rankings. They look at JGS, they look at national rankings, they look at AJGA. And those are all based on strength of schedule, as you mentioned, Ro, and PBE, and and who you're playing with in those tournaments. So that's important. And frankly, we made that mistake. So I would say that, as you get older, your child gets older and if he or she wants to play college golf, and they're getting to the point where they're getting looked at by coaches, be very strategic at the tournaments you pick to play. Because, there's math involved here. They could shoot a 70 at a tournament that's not ranked well, and that would be worse than shooting a 78 at a tournament that's ranked highly. Each stroke's difference, and yet they're the indexes that they calculate because of the and who they're playing against. You almost have to shoot in the 60s at those other tournaments to be as competitive. You could shoot in the mid 70s or even the high 70s at some of these national tournaments, and the indexing would be better. So it's a little bit weird the way they do the math, but you're talking about 5, 6, 8 strokes. So it makes a difference because it moves their rankings substantially.
Yeah, Dave, the only thing I want to caution people is that not every kid is ready for those kind of tournament where national level.
Oh yeah, and
you have to be able.
Yeah, they have to be able to. But if we're talking about playing collegiately at D1 or competitive, I think that's where I'm talking about. If it's
correct,
yeah,
correct,
yeah.
And if they're not good enough, Gus, they're not gonna get in anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, if the kid at their local tournament showing 78, 80, don't waste your money and go to a national tournament trying to qualify somewhere in California or Texas, in Florida. You're wasting your money.
Right.
If the kid's beating everybody locally in his 1 day, 2 day tournament locally, then they might be ready for the next level. So don't waste your money out there. Go, and you go there and really you shoot 95. So
in the Southeast, you don't have to go far, frankly.
Yeah, exactly.
We have the best golfers in the Southeast, y'all.
Well, I won't say Southeast.
So y'all, listen, our goal here is to take off 10 years. And speaking of 10 years, let's dive into course management. You know, I know we use a program called Decade Golf, and I think with with anybody, you know, you want to make sure, you know, there when you play these tournaments, you have to have proper planning. You have to make sure the kids have a yardage book. You make sure, you know, you need to, you know, I even reach out to local golfers to get local course knowledge. Just the little nuances can help the kids know what targets to shoot. And you know, and so we use Decade Golf. You know, I've been friends with Scott Fawcett for a couple of years, and we, you know, we buy into Decade Golf, just understanding, you know, the targets, and just your shot shape, and just understanding that, you know, sometimes it's better to play away from the trouble. Is, you know, you can't go, and I'm sure all you dads would agree, you can't go for every flag, because when you go for every flag, you accidentally pull it in the creek, or you accidentally pull it in the bunker. And we all know sometimes when you pull it in the bunker, that's going to give you it's almost like a penalty stroke when you go into bunkers. So, you know, really prepare when you start going into these 2-day tournaments. And just, you know, like, you know, Gus got on me that time, and I wanted to make sure I put in, make sure you find a mentor. You know, I've had several mentors across the country, us and Maurice, and we got a good friend named Mark who's mentored us. And so, you know, like Ken Styles, you know, I found mentors across the country that can shave off years of just understanding this journey. So make sure you seek mentors. But going back to course management, you know, every tournament that your child gets in, study the course. We look at it on 18 birdies. We look at it on Decade, and we print yardage books, and we have shot targets, and the whole nine. So understanding course management, Mo, what's your take on course management and
The
being
course
prepared?
management is great, and what you said before, there is no blueprint for junior golf, and everybody's journey is going to be different. But
Mhm.
the quickest way to get better is just to realize that you're not on this journey alone, and to find somebody and source somebody, and find a mentor, or find somebody who's traveling on the same journey. And I've kind of noticed that in our community, we don't share a lot of information. But if you look at the other communities, like the Asian community and all the other people, they share a lot of information among themselves. So we've got to be able to adapt and share a lot more of our success and also our failures. But when it comes to course management and data and all that, it is great to have, because you want to make sure that you're on equal footing with most of the other golfers out there. But I caution you, I caution you that you can't introduce it too early, because what you want to make sure that you introduce it at the right time when your junior golfer is ready and can accept it. Prime example for us, my daughter started doing clip last spring. So
Mhm.
she got so much detailed about writing down every stat, every putt, every miss, where she was, that she got away from playing golf. So as much as the data helps you, it can also hinder your game if you have to know when to introduce it and how much you are going to access it. But use the data to help you when it comes to setting up your practices during the week. If you notice that you're losing shots to the field and you're tracking that, where am I losing shots? Am I losing shots off the tee? Am I losing shots from 100 yards in? Am I losing shots? What do I need to do? And tailor your practice off of the data that you do. And there are a lot of different programs out there. So just some are cost effective. Depends on how much you want to invest in that. But for the data, it is great. But just caution the junior golfer parents to know when to introduce it to their junior golfer.
Good, good, good. All right. Gus, what you want to say about course management?
Yeah, I think Maurice is correct, because I from early on I had kind of push it to my kids to use it, but eventually he actually, I think Maurice said Clip, he used Clip now, and I don't have to tell him. He actually come and tell me, give me the data. He's all his data. He walks the pod. He knows the measurement. So he actually find out by himself and learn it. All I had to do is say, Daddy, I want you to pay for this membership I'm getting. So end up there, I didn't know. I just give him my credit card. I realized that it was what he was picking on. It was the software. But he has at the end of the day, he had to do himself. But one of the things I want to highlight is I can't even say it in my head, but we'll probably know it. I think Tiger Woods had this 5 golden rule when you go and play golf, right? He was, no 3 putts, right? Because he had those things in his head. He's like, no 3 putt, no blow up easy up and down. There's a few 5 things he had. You can go search them. Just put 5 Tiger Woods 5. At least start with that to give you a sense of, hey, maybe this par 5 too aggressive because I want to get par on a par 5. I don't get a bogey on a par 5. Those little things that Tiger has can help you with course management, because getting a bogey on a par 5 is really detrimental because you're giving the field an extra shot, right? So Tiger has those 5 golden rules. Take a look at that. That could be a simple case to use for you and your child.
That's good, Gus. I like that Tiger 5. Scott Fawcett talks about that a lot. So that's anything else from a course management standpoint, y'all, before we get into parental involvement?
Yeah, bro, to piggyback off Tiger Woods, I'd say I think they asked him in the interview how many flags he aimed at in an 18-hole round, and I think he said maybe 1. And that answer is kind of the inverse of what you would expect. But just to Gus's point, I think just that little snippet right there, how many flags do you aim at during a round? And the greatest that's ever walked, it says 1. That means something.
Yeah, hopefully the juniors will pay close attention, because I've always felt, I don't know how y'all feel about this, but I just always felt if a kid could get this part of it between 13 and 14, they could really become great golfers early if they would just aim away from the flag instead of going at every pin. So
yeah, I mean, Scott Fawcett said it best. He said, "Aim at the middle of the green, and are nice accidents, right? You pull it left, flags left. It's a nice accident."
Yes. So let's talk about parental involvement, y'all, at these tournaments and, in a junior golfer's life. And I can't, get a better person to talk about parental involvement, versus Mark. So Mark, kick us off, man, and just kind of talk about the parental involvement a little bit. Cause I was thinking about a couple of the other guys, but they're just like me when they're on the course. So I picked the right 3. I picked you, Mark, Marvin, and Maurice, because y'all probably the calmest on the course when your kids are playing.
Yeah, I guess.
Know about that?
Yeah. Well, and that's actually how Ro and I met was kind of on this topic about parents and parental involvement, because my wife and I did write a book. It is called the Drive Home. We're not experts by any means. We wanted to sort of chronicle our journey, but also help other parents, that kind of went through the same thing, because we started to notice, and everybody notices this. You notice those guys or moms or dads that live and die with every shot. Something goes out of bounds and it's 911, right? It's whatever. And long story short is my wife told me one day that she said, "You're that guy." And because I was living and dying by what my son was doing on the golf course. Day 1 of a 2-day tournament, we were hammers, and day 2 we were not. And for whatever reason, I just sort of lost it. And my wife told me, she said, "You're that guy." And when she told me I was that guy, I started going looking for that guy on the golf course. And I started noticing, I started paying attention. I was like, man, that guy's crazy. Or that guy's fighting with his kid. That guy's yelling at his kid. That guy's yelling at his wife. And there was a buddy I was walking with. He said, man, he started telling me about all these different dad types, the types of dads that are out there. The guy that's completely absent, that's in the bar, who's probably got it, he's probably the sanest of us all, right? He doesn't watch. To the ones that are, I'm selling the clubs when we get home. And my wife and I started talking on the way home from that tournament. We said we should really write down kind of what this is and we did it from from a dad perspective and a mom perspective, because as Ro will attest to, right? We laugh about this with my wife Britt and his wife Karen, is that Ro and I were worried about, as we were watching Ben and John play together, we were worried about horse management, worried about, is he hitting a 4-iron off the tee or a 3-wood off the tee kind of thing. And Karen and Britt, the ladies, are worried about, what is it, Ro? Are they hydrated? Do they have enough snack? Are they upset about something kind of thing? So we looked at it from different perspectives, but it was a good exercise for us, and we think it's a helpful tool for others. But it all boils down to the fact that I think, and I'll say that I'll point fingers at me, is I was completely guilty of, because living vicariously through my son, and I put too much into each of his rounds, whether we're playing a 9-hole match in high school, or whether, he's trying to make a putt to win the state championship kind of thing, or when he played in a college golf tournament. Like I was on edge, and I would find myself even like physically, like, just, and if I could go back and do anything over again, I would go back. I don't drink, so I wouldn't be that guy in the bar, but I would most likely be somewhere towards that end of the spectrum, where I recognize now, because I'm on the backside of that journey. So my son was a high school golfer, he was a college golfer, and I realize now that when he shot, the 89 or 90, whatever it was, in Hilton Head at the Jimmy Self, and I thought the world was going to stop turning. I really thought that the sun wasn't going to come up, the stars weren't going to come out. And I look back now, and I'm like, man, how crazy is that I was that keyed up over that. So all that to say is, I think as parents, I know I'm pointing the finger at myself, is that we get so vested and invested into that journey, that I forgot a lot of times that it wasn't my journey, it was his journey. And so again, if I could go back and do anything, Matt Krug is a sports psychologist for the Milwaukee Brewers, and he says that kids, we as parents, we can place attachments onto their performance, like, you need to go perform so we can get this college scholarship, you need to go do well so we can get in this tournament kind of thing. And we start, as dads, like, we're all trying to do the right thing, right? We're trying to buy the right equipment, hire the right coach. And I told my son, I said, I'll move heaven and earth to get you anything you need, if you just want to go. And I think you guys this will resonate with you, is when your child shoots 68 on the golf course, the songs on the radio are better, the food is better,
the dinners are better,
your wife loves you more, the dinners are better, the hotel bed sleeps better, versus when they shoot 88, there's a difference. So if you just focus on one thing, ask yourself, like, is there a difference between 68 and 88 to your reaction? I can remember one time, I always hug my son coming off the green after every tournament, no matter if it was 68 or 88. And it was one time I was so keyed up, and I didn't make over to hug him, and I was beside myself, and for no reason. And he asked his mom, he's like, hey, is Dad mad at me because he didn't hug me when the tournament was over? And you talk about an 18-year-old crushing a 50-year-old, that's it. So again, talking in circles, but I think parents get it wrong a lot. I think, and the reason is we want the best. It's because we want the best for our kids.
Yes.
But again, it's tough, because it's an individual sport, and you can't put your hand out there. So again, pointing the finger at me, I think I tried to fix it too often, and I became that guy. And now I'm trying to help people not be that guy. Ro and I behaved, though. The couple of terms we played in together, we behaved.
Yeah, we did. We make sure we focus on the snacks and the water. Y'all make sure y'all get that book, The Drive Home. It's out on Amazon. The Drive Home is an excellent read. It kind of helps you, get in the right space. So
yeah, and one thing okay. I'll mention. So for 20 seconds is there's a guy named Bruce Brown, and they've got they work with a group called Proactive Coaching LLC. And so you can go Google the study they did, and they studied thousands and thousands of athletes, and they asked them in their junior journey, it could be whatever sports it was, baseball, football, whatever. They asked the kids, they said, tell us the best thing about your experience and the worst thing about your experience. And the large majority of kids that were surveyed said the worst thing about their junior athlete experience was the car ride home. Because, parent, like, getting in the car, why'd we shoot 85, or why'd we do this, whatever. and they asked, "What's the best thing that you remember about that journey?" And the kids overwhelmingly said, "It's when my parents just simply said, 'I love to watch you play.'" So so that's I should have led with that in the beginning, but it's an amazing study. We were going to call the book "The Car Ride Home," but that was already taken, and some stuff was there. But just think about that, like think about the majority of kids saying the worst experience is the car ride home. And again, I've been guilty.
That's great. That's a great
All right.
article. That's a great
Marvin.
yeah, I
What's your
mean,
take, man?
Mark kind of hit on a lot.
Because you're pretty cool. You're pretty cool on the course, Marv.
Yeah, but you didn't meet me until I was the kids. I had one in college and one in 10th grade. There's a whole other way.
Marvin, I think your wife is more intense than you.
It's so funny. Mark talked about the ride home. And I think for Hope, it was, I think, the happiest tournament we ever played. She shot 72 for 9 holes. Her very first U.S. kids golf tournament.
Right.
We had no expectation, guys. We literally had no expectations. I don't come from a world of golfers. I played college football. Right. So we had no expectations. We weren't practicing short game. We did have a coach. But it was that excitement in her eyes to had us seek out help in the areas where I know we needed help, which was the short game, right? But after that event, we went for ice cream, we went for a hamburger. The car ride was probably the best car ride because there were car rides where we didn't speak for like 3 hours.
Right.
And I'm sure you asked your kid, why'd you shoot 85? And they give you the smart answer. I meant to shoot 85, Dad. Like why'd you put the ball in the water off the tee?
Yep.
Oh, I meant to put the ball. I was aiming for the water, Dad. So, this is a great sport.
Yeah.
It's a great family outing. Some of our best times are on the golf courses. Bro, what was the question? I kind of got sidetracked.
Parental involvement.
Yes.
Good.
A lot of parental involvement in the early days.
Yeah.
Because we're driving them to the course.
Right.
At that point, we've probably all put up our golf clubs, right?
Yeah.
We're on the putting range with them. We're videoing them. We're that guy.
Yep.
It's you want the best for your kid. Maybe some of it is a little personal, a little, trying to build a world-class athlete.
Yeah.
But there is a heavy dose of parental involvement. I still say that probably, and I tell my kids this, probably, and this is for the parents out there, you have to see how your kid is adapting at 14, 15, and 16, right? Like, where is the trajectory? Because you kind of know at that age if they want to play collegiate golf, if they want to try to play on Sunday. So you kind of got to either amp it up or tamper it down some, right? But I kind of, where we were at in South Florida, there were a lot of junior golfers playing. So at that point, I was kind of letting them do their own thing a little bit. I I wasn't at every practice for 3 hours, like pre-14. I'm there. I work for myself, so at 8 in the morning till 10, I'm with them, whether it's on the range videoing, on the putting videoing, after school pickup. We head to the golf course. I'm there. And then at 14, this transition kind of happens. They're like, "Hey, Dad, you see my other 5, 6 friends on the golf range without their parents. Like I kind of got this thing.
Go home.
Go home."
Right.
But I don't, and I mean this wholeheartedly. Like, I don't know if that was the best idea, because they're with their friends. Is every shot going to be like focused? They're going to be talking about what's going on at school. So it's really a juggling act at that stage in their careers, and I personally believe that the kids that plan on Sunday, their parents don't do the drop off.
No.
I don't believe that they do. I
No.
think that they are there, and they basically remove that child from that environment. Now, granted, we have 2 great colleges. Will they play on Sundays? One says they don't want to, which is fine. It's their life, right? We've gotten them to where I need to get them where they will be financially able to take care of themselves and get off my couch. But it's like that 14, to me, that 14 age of that drop off, where you kind of release them out of the parental grips. I think that is the test of where your child will ultimately succeed in this sport or not.
Yeah, but I think, Marvin, I think you're right. I think there's 2 elements of it, right? One, I think the parent need to know the kid, and the parent need to know himself or herself, because I know both Ro and Maurice and Mo know there's some tournaments for my kids I don't go, because I know I'm not going to help them because of who I am. So I'm a basketball guy. When I say bad shot, it's a bad. I'm going to call it a bad shot, right?
Right.
Sometimes I say a bad shot. I put my hands in the air. I don't even know I'm doing that. I put my hands there. I was like, what the heck just happened here? But they're watching you, right?
Yes.
So I know that was not a good thing for me to be there sometimes, because I know I'm going to put my hands. I don't even know how I'm doing it, right? They were so bad. So what I did sometimes, I said, Ro will tell me, "Are you going to this tournament?" I say, "No, I'm not going." Why? Because I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to wave my hand when he hit the bad shot. So I'm going to mess him up worse. So I'm just at home. I drop him off, have fun, and I'll see you later.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, let's get Maurice's take on this, y'all, and then we got 2 more topics, and we're gonna wrap it up. Mo?
Yeah, I think Mark and Marvin hit a lot on the nail on the head. You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
And we've all seen that guy. And then when coming up from junior golf, I was that guy coming up, living and dying off the shot. I'm trying to tell her one thing about, hey, don't live and die off every shot. But then if you look over the shoulder, I'm over here doing this and all that. So you don't want to be that guy. But then also too, you have to understand as a parent that once you're a college golfer, once your junior golfer gets to a level, and coaches are coming to those tournaments, they're going to ask that tournament director about your kid. And I've talked to a couple of tournament directors where they said, hey, the kid is a great kid, but the dad is just off the chart. So you don't want your kid to be labeled because of the antics that you do.
Right.
And then what hit home with me is, coming from a junior golfer, I always told my daughter, I don't care what you shoot, I just care how you play. If you're moping, and I should know, if I walk on a golf course and I haven't seen you all day, and I walk up on a hole, I should know if either you're 4 or 5 over or 4 or 5 under, based upon the way you're playing. But some parents, you can just tell by their energy, and the kid's going to feed off that energy. But full disclosure, once my kid told another family member, I think my dad's disappointed in me because I didn't play well. It wasn't that you didn't play well. I just was disappointed in the score that you shot, but I'm never disappointed in you. So you got to have that conversation with your kid that to detach the score from being from the result, from still loving them.
That's key. That's
Hey,
key. I used
Ro.
to, Mhm, go ahead, Mark.
Oh, I just what you if you guys haven't met Tammy Matheny, I mentioned her earlier, but Ro and I share her in common. This is a
Mhm.
if you don't take anything else away from this conversation, take this away. She's got this tool. She said, ask your kids, no matter what the sport, but golf particularly here. Ask your kids this question: what do you need from me before the round? What do you need from me during the round? What do you need from me after the round? I asked my son that the last day before his final junior tournament he played, and it was eye opening what he shared. But no matter what age, 12, 13, 14, and continue to ask that question. And the answers will surprise you. I always thought my son was going to say before the round, I need you to sit on the range with me, video, tell me what my path is and all this stuff. And what he told me was, I just want you to come hang out with me and let's have a conversation about anything other than golf. But parents, ask your kids that question. They can text you the answer. They can tell it to you. They can write it to you. What do you need from me before, during, and after? And that right there, road to the point of this whole thing, will solve a lot of stuff because kids will tell you. Kids will tell you what they want.
It'd be, and
At
kids
the
are
end,
honest.
at
Great,
the end of the
Mark.
day, you got to keep it fun. At the end of
Yes.
the day, you still got to make golf fun.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, Mo. You don't want to get your kids to the point where they don't want to play golf. Because they can do that. They can say that. And so I used to be famous for being, 50, 100 yards down the course and tossing my hat up. But I've gotten better. I've matured a little bit. So, hey.
Understand I'm Italian and I talk with my hands. That's the problem.
Right. Yeah. Dave, hey, Dave is a sight to see on the course, boy, I tell you. All right, so y'all, let's get into a little bit of social media and some college recruiting. We're going to wrap up. I think this has been a great forum to help junior parents navigate their way through junior golf. So social media, let's kick it over to Mo, Gus, and then I'll touch on social media a little bit.
I mean, social media has been great for us. That's how a lot of people learned about my daughter Kendall. We were late to golf. Kendall's the only child, so we did a bunch of other things before we got into golf. But you can use social media to your benefit. There's a lot of things that you can that they can post. There's a lot of help books out there. There's a lot of help videos out there. You just got to be mindful of what they're listening to, what they're watching, and all that. But they can have a great social media presence because that is one. But also be cautious that if the coach is recruiting them, they're also looking at their social media also. So as much as you want to have fun and much as you want to have these one-off pages where this is my golf page, but then this is my other profile that I can do wild and crazy stuff over there. Just understand that social media works two ways. And once you press send, you can never get it back.
That's right. Gus, what's your take on social media?
So there's good and bad, right? I agree with what Mo said. The other thing is that if golf is that important to you, you can't have prioritize social media over your golf. Because what happened, what I've seen a lot of time on the golf course is that a lot of kids they're swinging just to put on social media. They're doing things just to put versus focusing on why they're there for, right? Becomes a distraction. So stay away from that distraction. But as Mo say, social media is a way, and I use it in a way for my family who lives all over the world know what's going on with my kids, right? I use it more than my kids. My son hardly ever posts because he doesn't like, he just doesn't, it's not something he likes to do, right? So a lot of time I'll force him say, you post this, post that, but he's not big of that. But just don't let the social media be in the way of you practicing or getting better at golf. That's the main thing.
I think I post more than my daughter posts.
Exactly.
Right.
Same way I am.
Right.
I know I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just to piggyback, just to kind of put some icing on the cake with this, you all, I run John's social media. I'm his social media team. Okay. And so I probably got 150 posts out there of him, just different things to attract some attention. And John has gotten a lot of opportunities from the posts that I make. Okay. Now his page, if you leave it up to him, he's got 3 posts on his page. So my wife and I tell him all the time, if you're gonna be the great athlete, you don't have time to do the social media stuff. Leave that to the team. Leave that to your social media team. I was listening to something recently, and they said that if you're trying to be great, if you're trying to be a good junior golfer, great junior golfer, you don't have time to do all that posting and all the editing and all the reviews and stuff like that. Leave that to your team. But I think it's good because of different things that's coming up, like NIL, college coaches, might get a glimpse of you playing, and you can get recruited that way. You can get some opportunities to play different tournaments. So I think it's a good thing to have a Lana Hall golf page. I think those things are good to have for your junior golfers. Anybody else want to add to that before we go?
Real quick. I mean, when you're playing good golf, because for instance, Maurice is an example of that. Other people post for you, because I've seen a lot of posts about Maurice, daughter and family, and other people post for them, right? So because she's focused on the golf aspect, but she's focused again better, play good golf, and let's say somebody else that will take care of itself, right? So that's one thing. It just.
Right.
I mean, even NIL. I know you mentioned the NIL, right? Listen, we've been involved in NIL for a while now, but the thing about it, even with NIL, be careful, because sometimes there's commitment from the NIL company. That commitment can take away from your golf. Make sure you write that down and say, hey, it doesn't interfere with golf schedule, doesn't interfere with your practice. Make sure you write all this stuff in front, because you want to know, we know a couple of young kids, they spend more time traveling to support companies versus working on the golf game. And you can see the golf game's impacted, right? So that's something you have to be careful about, right? If you want to be a good golfer, those are things you have to be able to manage.
That's so true, Gus. All right. Anything else y'all want to add on the NIL space? I mean, about on the social media space, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook? No? Okay. All right. Last thing, y'all, is college recruiting. So we got Dave, Marvin, Mark, any tips or any strategies that you want to recommend to other junior parents to, when they get to around that 14, 15, 16 mark on how to, really start getting ready for some college recruiting?
This is Marvin. I think the number one thing is you got to have the grades. I don't care if you're shooting 68.
Yes, sir.
If you don't have the grades, you're not getting in.
Right.
So if you don't have the SAT score, if you don't have the GPA, it is just a wish to play high level college golf. So parents,
add on to that more, there's 10 times more academic money out there than there is golf money.
Yes.
Amen. Yes.
So go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. I mean, if you spent all your time on the golf course and none of it in academics, then it's a moot point. But if you if you balance that and have good academics and good scores, there's more money available to you.
Yeah. The very first thing when we met Coach Alex at Dartmouth, what do you look at? He says, "Oh, a high SAT score and a low handicap."
high and low Mar.
So, I mean, at Dartmouth, I think the average girl on the team had 1440 SAT scores. This is the average student. So, Lehigh, the same. It all starts with academics. So parents out there, you got to make sure you get that buttoned up at an early stage. And not just that, the commitment once you're in college, to practice, to get up at 6 a.m., to do your homework after practice, to travel for 3 days, to do your work. It amazes me, like on rain delays, There's 75 kids and there are 75 Macs
Yep.
in the
MacBooks.
cafeteria, in the lunch hall, doing
Right.
homework.
Doing homework, getting
So
ready.
it makes you feel good as a parent that you've done your part. So so I'll leave it there for me. So high GPA, low golf score.
I like it. Dave, anything else you want to add before we get Mark take?
Yeah, two quick things. The first is you have to have reasonable expectations on where your child's going to be competitive for golf.
Say that again.
Yeah, reasonable expectations, because it doesn't help anyone to set crazy expectations. And I've seen so much of that from parents, including myself, probably early on, setting unreasonable expectations. So you know where your child is, and it's pretty easy to look at the landscape. College golf is incredibly competitive, especially now post-COVID. Incredibly competitive. So that's one. The second is, and this was told to me by a good friend, Jeff Ruth. He said, choose the school for where you want to go to school, not where you want to play golf. Because what happens, God forbid, day 3 they get a severe injury, right? Or they don't, they don't get to play golf. Something happens, So choosing the school for golf is important, but they better want to go to the school outside of the golf. So I think those two things, and there's so many nuances to recruiting in college golf. You basically you recruit yourself. There's no recruiting unless you're like fortunate enough to be in the top 50 or 100 in the country. It's really it's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, you have to choose the school that you want to go to, and then playing golf there is a bonus.
Yes.
Mark?
Yeah, and I'd so piggyback on all that. I love the be realistic. I'd also encourage parents, like if kids want to play college golf, like it's doable. I know we were hung up on the D1 thing for a while, and but so if you want to go play D1, D2, D3, like go play college golf. There's opportunity out there. You got to put in the work to go do it, but also be realistic. You got to have the numbers, right? You got to be able to play. And it's you can go sort of do some research and kind of see what you got to have score wise. But I think what it comes down to is if you can play, you're going to get noticed. To Dave's point, like if you go and play well, people are going to notice you. I do think though, we got this advice and we sort of ignored it. We pay stupid taxes, Dave Ramsey says, on stuff a lot of times, but so to Dave's point about choose a school for where you want to go to school, but also for the academic path you want to go down. We had two choices playing collegiate golf, and I say we because we're a family, right? We had two choices, and my son chose PC. He wanted to play T1. He wanted to play D1, and he went there because he had a couple of teammates go there. And when we said like, hey, how does this line up with your academic, like what you want to do in school and what you want to study? He's like, oh, it'd be all right. It'll be all right. Well, then we found out when we got into it, it didn't really provide a path for him academically that he wanted to do. So we could go there and play golf 4 years, but when we got out, where we were going to be. So he made that decision on his own. He's like, hey, I love playing golf, but like my academics are and what I want to do in the future is more important. So he chose to transfer to Clemson. His golf it's a different level, Clemson to PC. But again, and we got that advice, like don't go just for the golf. And I think that, Dave said it, and I'd say it 1,000 times, don't go just for the golf. And I'll leave you with, there's a book called Looking for a Full Ride. And it's a really good book. So pick that up. And it talks about all the mechanics of how to send letters and how to send emails and all that stuff. But to Dave's point, one of the things,
let's see. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. My microphone changed. So one of the things Renee Lopez talks about is the broken leg test, and it's exactly what Dave said. Like if you choose, if you choose the school, imagine that you got there and you broke your leg. Would you still want to go to school there? because you couldn't play your sport. And that doesn't matter if you're, if you're like Marvin and play football, or if you're golf or tennis or whatever the case may be. And that's so hard because people say, I want to go there and I want to play golf, but it's about more. But, my son's teaching me now. It's a ton about a lot more about golf. So I'd say, if you want to play college golf, you can. Be realistic with the expectations of what you're going to do. And if you can play, you're going to get noticed. And there's nothing like a handwritten note. A lot of people send emails to coaches and stuff. Be the guy or the girl that sends a handwritten note. It distinguishes you in life too.
And Mark, that sounds much better. Whatever you did with the earpiece, you're coming in a lot clearer.
Oh, you want to go back and start over the whole thing?
No.
Maurice,
Maurice,
do that.
what's your take?
Yeah, and just to piggyback off what Mark and Dave said, also when you're picking a school, make sure you're not picking a school because of the coach. Because I will tell you, in the landscape of college golf right now, or college athletics, coaches will come and go. So you want to make sure that if another coaches come in, that you're going to be still happy with that university that you're at, and you picked it for all the right reasons. So don't get hung up all because the coach said I'm going to play, or my buddy's going there, so we're going to go there and we're going to start this program. Got to make sure that it is the correct fit for you, because in college, as we all know, things change, and in college you have to learn how to adapt, and you have to be able to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, because more quickly on that, right? So one of the things I did, some parents can learn real quick, is that when my kid pick a school and say, oh yeah, I want to play golf at Stanford, an example, right? So I will go to their Stanford website. I go to the golf team website. I click on every single player there. I say, are you close to that player? Are you close to that? I actually have them read every single one of them to say, okay, are you there? Then there's some work that if you want to go to that school, there's some work needs to be done then. So I use that as a way to motivate them to say, hey, this is what's out there. So parents can easily do that. You can go to any of those websites for the schools and click on those players to see their profile. They tell you exactly what score they should, what's your GPA, what awards. They'll tell you all that stuff right on their on the players' profile on their website.
Yeah, Gus, that's perfect. The thing that parents have to remember is they're shooting that score on 7,200 yards. So
Yep.
I think that's important, and we did that.
Good boy.
You have to add 2 strokes to your score.
Yep.
Take 2 strokes off their score because it's different yardage, it's a different course. So, yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Yeah,
point.
and
Good
if
point.
you don't see yourself or your scores are not matching up with their 6th, 7th, and 8th person on the team, then that might not be the best fit for you. If academically, if you want to go there because that's a great academic school, but realistically, you have to understand that you might be going there and you might have to sit and wait on somebody. So if your kid is used to being the stud or used to being the number one, and then all of a sudden they got to go sit, that emotionally they got to be prepared for that. So
Right.
you might want to pick a school where you think you can play, and there is a school for everybody. There's a school for everybody, like Mark said. So it may not be this top echelon that the parent wants you to go to, but if you can play golf, the coaches will find you, and there is a fit for you.
Yeah, it's funny. Y'all are hitting all the key points. When I talk to some parents today, and their kids are juniors and juniors, and they're talking about where they want to go, and they've got all these big schools they want to go to, and in my mind, I'm saying, ain't no way you going there. I mean, because I already know. But the one advice I would give to parents that's listening is start sending emails to coaches in the area, like around the 10th grade, and let them, you and your child let the coach know that, hey, listen, I know we can't talk right now until June 15th, but I just want to let you know I got a very high interest level in your school. And then they might put you on the board. You never know. But the key is send out a bunch of emails. I think we sent out probably 70 to 100 emails, and we only heard from 7 to 10 coaches. So you're not going to hear from all the emails that you send out, but like somebody said, maybe a handwritten note is better. But the key is to flood the schools that you would like to go to and see what coaches respond. And if you don't hear back, send another email and just see who's responding. And then you can kind of just go from it from that standpoint. So,
Cast a wide net.
that's the wide net. There you go. Cast a wide net.
And
That's it.
personal connections are so important. I mean, they're so important. Like if you know someone who knows the coach, or knows someone who knows someone on the team, that's a huge in, because they get flooded with emails. Those coaches
Yeah.
hundreds of emails a week at all. So a personal connection, or like Mark said, a note. But to me, what turned the tides for us was personal connections to schools.
Yeah. Don't.
The final thing for us, Ro, was we sent, like you said, 60, 70 emails. Dartmouth was actually playing in a local event in Boca, and I took the girls up to watch the collegiate tournament. Hope was in 10th grade, and we made a connection with the coach. And that kind of started the writing campaign. He saw us on the range. Then on Instagram, social media, we saw he was hosting a camp. We made the investment to go to the camp just so he could familiarize himself with Hope. One thing led to another, and it, knock on wood, it worked out to our benefit.
That's great. Good deal.
Yep.
All right. Well, guys, listen, thank y'all so much for being on the panel tonight. I think we helped a lot of parents and juniors tonight. Give yourselves a big hand for being on tonight and helping some parents. So let's get some final thoughts, and we'll get off this call. Marvin, final thoughts.
Ro, this is personal. Go Ravens.
No. Oh man.
Boo. Boo. All right, Mark, final thoughts.
Just a reminder, let it be their journey. You support their journey, but let it be their journey.
Gus.
Enjoy the ride. Enjoy.
Mo.
I mentioned it before, but keep golf fun.
Yeah.
You got to keep it fun. It's as you move through each level, still keep the fun in it, because you can play this game for the rest of your life. So as much as you drove your kid into golf, don't drive them away.
Right. Dave.
They all took mine. I was gonna say enjoy it, have fun. So I'll just say go Bills.
Oh, gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to tackle Derrick Henry in 8 below.
Oh
Nobody.
man. Yeah.
I won't say go Chiefs in, but
Outscore, because we won't stop you.
This should be a good one.
My final thoughts, y'all, is golf don't care what you shot the previous day. Just enjoy it.
Yes, sir.
All
go
right.
Chiefs.
Thanks, guys.
Bro.